This video is going to go deep into personal finance. So before we get started, I have several disclaimers for you, so bear with me. Number one, I am not a professional financial advisor. Number two, I am not your professional financial advisor. Number three, all of the information I'm providing to you in this video is general and does not take into account your specific personal financial situation. Number four, the content in this video and any other resources I provide should not be used as your only source of information when making your own personal financial decisions. Number five, all information in this video is specific to the UK's tax system and the information the government from the UK provides. If you're in a different country, your tax situation may and probably will vary. Number six, all information I provide in this video and any other content is correct as of the 20th of July 2020, which is the specific date I'm recording this. Things probably will change in the future, and it's all subject to the budget announcements from the UK government. And finally, number seven, always seek professional financial advice from a professional independent financial advisor before making any decisions with your money. Everything I share in this video is not advice, it's not guidance, it's purely information that I've taken from other sources and provided in hopefully a nice and easy digestible format for you. Look, either way, all I'm trying to do here is help my fellow content creators understand the tax system in the UK when it comes to earning income and revenue from their content creation efforts. Look, just trying to help. So in this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to get started with income and taxes from Twitch and content creation. Most of my references will be towards Twitch, as that's the main platform I know, and there's so many different kinds of income you can generate through Twitch, but it applies to all content creation that you can think of: YouTube, Google, Amazon, product affiliates, sponsorships, Patreon, OnlyFans, basically anywhere you might make money online and you're a content creator. All of that applies to what's going into this video today. And really, it also covers any income you receive out of your day job, whether you sell physical goods and it's not just making money off videos or content that you create. So in this video, specific topics we're going to cover today, we have 9 of them, although we've already covered the first one, which is disclaimers. So number 2, we have the current tax year explained. Number 3, tax brackets and what they are. Number 4, we've got some examples of taxes that fall within those tax brackets based on your earnings. Number 5, we talk about what's called the trading allowance. Number 6, we talk about what earnings you can receive from Twitch in particular, but other content creation sources that is and isn't taxable. Number 7, we've got some examples that use the trading allowance and almost imagine you are a content creator and what kind of taxes you might need to bear in mind as you earn income. Number 8, we talk a little bit about national insurance. And finally, number 9, I'll leave you with some next steps, some practical things to take yourself forward as you move away from this video, as well as what the tax timeline is that you need to bear in mind to make sure that you're not missing any crucial deadlines. Sound good? Good. And although I've gone through quite a long list there, what we're going to do today is make everything super visual for you. I've put together a short slide deck that covers all of those topics. I'm going to have that as my main screen for today, and it's also going to be a shareable document. So once you've watched through this video, you'll be able to access this resource, which is a Google Slides presentation. So it's widely available on Google, and you'll be able to review it and read through it in your own time at your own leisure. And before we get started, I also want to make it clear that this isn't a video you should have on in the background while doing something else. If you're serious about getting to know the tax system in the UK and what it means for you as a content creator, this really is something that you need to pay attention to. So if you're not in the right frame of mind, or you don't have the time to spend maybe 20 minutes or 20 to 30 minutes to understand this, I don't know actually how long this video is going to be, but if you don't have about 20 to 30 minutes to properly watch this video and understand the content that I'm throwing at you, then put this on your watch later, save it for another time where you can make yourself a cup of tea and sit down. You don't need a notepad and pen because, like I said, everything is going to be visual. There's going to be resources for you to keep afterwards. But just make sure that you're here to pay attention to what I'm about to say, because it is very important and it's not something you can just half listen to and only take a few things in. You really need to understand everything. Either way, I hope this is going to be really interesting for you and maybe a little bit fun. Who knows? I do kind of like talking about money, and I'm a bit of a personal finance nut as well. So hopefully my enthusiasm for the topic, shall we say, can get across to you, and we can make this a good video for all of us. Before we get into that though, let me introduce myself first. Hello, I'm Tom, also known as Brick Guy, and I help content creators build their ultimate stream life balance, essentially helping them grow and improve their streams and smash their goals when it comes to content creation, while handling everything else that life has to throw at them on the side and all the challenges that life brings them. I post content here on YouTube every week around stream life balance. This particular series of videos I'm going to call the business behind Twitch, or the business of Twitch, something like that. It's going to be a separate playlist to my stream life balance content. So if either of these topics interest you, then do feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I do talk about these exact kinds of topics on my Twitch channel as well every Wednesday evening, 8 PM till 10 PM UK time. And also stream a bit of gameplay on Saturday afternoons as well, so feel free to check me out on there. And if this kind of content is the sort of stuff you want to be talking about with other streamers on a more, I guess, real-time environment outside of Twitch and maybe Twitter, then we have a Discord for you as well. The links to all of that will be in the description below. Right, so the first thing I want to cover with you is the current tax year, which at the moment runs from the 6th of April 2020 to the 5th of April 2021. Don't ask me why it's those dates in particular, that's just what they are. So first, with that in mind, what we need to cover is the tax brackets that exist in the UK. These are the tax thresholds that most people will fall into over the tax year, which runs from the 6th of April to the 5th of April. The first threshold is £0 in earnings to £12,500 in earnings in the tax year. The second threshold is £12,500 to £50,000 in annual earnings. Third bracket is £50,000 to £100,000. And the final earning is anything over £150,000 earned in a single tax year. For the first threshold, it's completely tax-free. Your first £12,500 earned in the UK, whether as an employee or self-employed, are completely tax-free. In the second threshold, all earnings generated between £12,500 and £50,000 are taxed at 20%. In the third bracket, all earnings between £50,000 and £150,000 are taxed at 40%. And finally, anything you earn over £150,000 is taxed at 45%. Now, the one thing that you need to bear in mind with all of these tax brackets is that it's a banded system. So let's say you earn £25,000 in the first year, which we have an example of here. The first £12,500 you earn of that £25,000 is completely tax-free. You do not get taxed on that. However, the second £12,500 is taxed at 20%. So of that 12.5k that you earn as the second pot of that £25,000, that's essentially £10,000 earned. So your total earnings, when you factor in your tax at 20%, are £22,500. You paid £2,500 in tax. And what that means is that even though your overall salary falls into the tax bracket of the 20% tax bracket, because you're earning between £12,500 and £50,000, it's not your entire salary that gets taxed at 20%. It's only the earnings that fall within the respective tax bracket. And we have another example of that here. Let's say you're a fairly big earner on £100,000 in the UK. Let's say you do earn that in a single tax year. Again, your first £12,500 of that is completely tax-free. You do not get taxed on that. Then you get taxed on the 37,500 £100,000 you earn between 12.5 to £50,000, and then of the money that's left over, the 50,000 up to the 100,000 that you earn as a salary, you get taxed on that 50k at 40%. So you earn £30,000 on that top end of the bracket. So although again you're in the 40% tax bracket as a 100k earner, you don't pay £40,000 in tax. In fact, it's significantly less. You pay £27,500. So just bear that in mind. When it comes to tax bands and tax brackets, you're not paying based on your overall salary or your overall earnings as a content creator as well. You're paying purely on the income and the earnings that fall within their respective tax brackets. I hope that makes sense. If you want to do some more calculations, then we are going to be doing a Twitch stream of this where we can go through this in a lot more detail and we can answer some specific questions that you might have. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is the trading allowance. And if you do start earning income for yourself as a sole trader or self-employed, or maybe you sell a few things on eBay or Etsy, or just any kind of small business that you're starting up for yourself, if you earn less than 1k from doing that side income, that business, whatever you might want to call it, you don't have to declare it and you don't get taxed on that income. This is called the trading allowance. It's just, I guess it's a little way for the government to help people earn a little bit of extra money on the side from their own endeavors. Maybe they want to monetize a hobby, and it just lets them earn a bit of money without having to go through the whole process of going through self-assessment and setting up tax payments and things like that. So if you do earn a little bit of money from Twitch each year, or from YouTube or any other forms of content creation, and you're in the UK, you have this trading allowance available to you. So yeah, if you earn £1,000 or less, you don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to declare it to the government. You don't have to pay taxes on it. You can just keep the whole thing for yourself. If, however, you earn more than £1,000 from your business, then you have to declare all of that income, and then you'll be taxed according to the standard tax bands that you fall into. And bear in mind, if you have a typical employed job where you earn a salary as well as this side income, and you earn more than £1,000 from this side income, then you'll have to pay tax according to your total income. So let's say you're on £25,000 a year and you earn £1,000 or £1,500 on the side, then you're being taxed as if you earn £27,500 per year. But of course, with trading allowance, you can still keep £1,000 of that additional side income tax free, so only £500 is actually taxed. Hope that makes sense. The other final thing that you need to bear in mind with the trading allowance is that you cannot claim back tax on expenses that you incur during the tax year. Basically, it's a way for you to choose, do you want to claim the trading allowance and get £1,000 tax free from your own, or keep £1,000 of your earnings tax free? Or is it more beneficial for you to apply and claim back expenses that you spent? And generally, you want to do that if your expenses over the tax year associated with the side income are higher than £1,000. But there are some exceptions, and there are some exceptions to even applying for the trading allowance in the first place. And it's exactly these situations why I recommend seeking professional financial advice from an independent professional financial advisor, because they'll be able to see your specific situation and advise based on what they know and what you're doing. So next we'll move on to what is taxable and what isn't taxable. And essentially anything you earn online is taxable. That includes, from Twitch specifically, your subscriptions, your bits that you earn, ad revenue, Twitch, YouTube, wherever, donations, extensions. Donations, in fact, is the big one, because when you think of donations, you think of donating to a charity, and donations to charity are typically exempt of tax. However, if someone's donating to you, that's technically classed as income to your business or your side income or whatever you might want to call it. So yeah, even though someone is donating to you and they think they're donating 100% of that money to you, money from that donation does have to be held back for tax. So bear that in mind. You can't spend all of your donations. So moving on from that, it includes things like brand partnership income. So for example, if someone sponsors a video or your content, that income has to be declared if it's over £1,000 in terms of your overall earnings from your side income or your business. Product affiliate income, if you post things on Amazon, for example, and people buy that stuff, then that's included. Product and merch sales from your stores, that's included. Patreon, OnlyFans, basically any other income associated with your brand. Anything that you earn based on what you do for your content creation, that is all taxable. And in fact, the only thing that isn't taxable is charitable donations. Let's say you do a charity stream or a charity drive for a preferred charity that you have, and people start giving you money for that. That's the only thing that isn't taxable. However, you must ensure that all income you receive that people have sent to you to go to that charity, that must go to the charity. Otherwise it's fraud and you're breaking the law. So bit of a minefield there. You'll have to be able to separate what people are giving to you versus what they're giving to the charity. But once you're able to separate that, anything that's been given to you, whether it's subs, bits, anything, all of that is taxable. So let's move on to a couple of practical examples for us here. Let's say we have a creator who has a standard 9-to-5 job. They earn £25,000 from that employment, and they've just had let's say their first year of Twitch, and they've earned £1,000 from Twitch streaming. Maybe they've got quite a few subscribers, maybe they've had donations and bits cheered at them, the whole lot. They've earned exactly £1,000 in the tax year. That means they've earned in total £26,000 in that tax year, 25 from their employment and 1 from their content creation. So when it comes to paying tax, it's important to remember that paid employment is already taxed automatically, and it's just deducted straight away from that employee's salary. Next up, the content creation income. It doesn't need to be declared because that person has only earned, because that person has earned £1,000 from their streaming endeavors. That doesn't need to be declared to the government, and so it isn't subject to tax. It doesn't need to go through self-assessment. It doesn't need to do anything of that. They can keep that full £1,000. They earned it. Why not? Let's say you've got someone who earns purely from content creation. It's their full-time job, and they earned the exact same amount of money as person number one, except it all came through content creation. There was no automatic tax deductions from their salary. They just earn this themselves from Twitch, YouTube, wherever. This way, instead of just having £1,000, or let's say this person earned £1,500, instead of just having that amount of money declared via self-assessment, in this case, the entire £26,000 must be declared as income via self-assessment. And again, here you can still claim £1,000 of that as trading allowance and not pay tax. And then don't 100% quote me on this because I'm still not sure how this exactly works. But I think after that £1,000, the next £12,500 is tax-free, which might make £13,500 tax-free in total. And then whatever's left over at the end, that is then taxed at 20%. Like I said, don't quote me on that. That's just based on what I think I know. It's very confusing online. That's why we're here. And this is, again, why I recommend finding an independent professional financial advisor, because they'll know specifically about things like this. And again, similar to the last point, if they choose to make a claim on that £1,000 trading allowance and keep all of that tax-free, then they can do so, but they cannot claim expenses. It's a one or the other situation. Do you want to claim expenses? Do you want to claim on trading allowance? Generally speaking, from what I hear, it's only better to claim expenses if your expenses are more than £1,000. Make sense? Let me know in the comments. The next point is national insurance. Now, this was something I added in literally just before I was going to start filming this. Because I wasn't really thinking about it. I was just thinking more on the tax side. But in fact, if your business makes a profit of at least £6,475, so let's say you earn £10,000 and you spent £2,000, therefore making £8,000 profit, you have to pay national insurance on that as well. So again, that all goes through self-assessment, but this is something that you need to bear in mind. Besides paying tax, you also may need to pay national insurance. But again, don't quote me on this 100%. Again, professional financial advice, it's there for a reason. But this is just something I thought I'd throw in because this is again, another thing that could crop up that people might not necessarily know about. And there we have it. We're close to the end, actually. I feel like we've made pretty good time today. Practicals, things we need to do right now. First thing you need to do is make sure you're filing and storing and keeping all of your paperwork. If you're paying for things on Amazon, for example, like new streaming gear, then make sure you keep the invoices you receive from Amazon. Likewise, if you receive payouts from Twitch or YouTube and you get those lovely emails with the PDF attachments that say how much you earned from them in that month, make sure you store that away as well. Keep everything for your own records, because that's going to make step 2 so much easier, which is where you track all your income and your expenses. I recommend just setting up a nice simple Google sheet for that. And again, in 2 weeks time, I'm going to be producing a video on how you can do that. Really super simple. And if your income exceeds £1,000 in the tax year, congratulations, you get to register for self-assessment. All the links for that will be provided in this resource, so it's all there for you. Make sure you have access, give yourself access to this. And then just go through the self-assessment process, and we have a lovely little timeline. I just realized my face is in the way, so I'm going to hide that real quick. There we go. So 6th of April 2020, basically, where are we now? We're in July. So as of 3 months ago, you needed to start tracking all your income and your expenses. So go back to the 6th of April 2020, go through everything you've earned from Twitch, everything you've paid for, or Twitch, YouTube, OnlyFans, Patreon, wherever. Go through everything you've earned as a result of your content creation and everything you've paid for that leads to content creation, or that can be traced back to content creation, and start putting that into a spreadsheet. And then thankfully the rest of the stuff is really far off in the future, so you've got plenty of time. 5th of April 2021, this is like, 9 months away? You must finalize all your income and your expenses by then. And if you're just doing it as you go, I recommend doing it once a month at least. Then this should be a relatively simple and straightforward thing to do. 5th of October 2021, we're talking 15 months from now. You need to have made sure that if between the 6th of April this year and the 5th of April next year, you need to make sure that by the 5th of October, if you've earned more than £1,000 from your content creation, you register for self-assessment, and it has to be latest by 5th of October. If you fail to register for self-assessment, or you fail to pay your tax on time after you've registered for self-assessment, you can be subject to fines and punishment from the UK government. And then the final date, really far off into the future, 31st of January 2022. We are talking, I don't know how long that is away. That's like 18 months away by now. That's the last date you must pay the tax that you're due, or that the government is due, from your earnings between 6th of April this year and 5th of April next year. It's a long way away, but just make sure you get it done. It can be done online. I believe it can be done by paper as well. But look, if we're streamers, if we're online content creators, of course we're going to do it online. It's pretty quick, it's pretty simple, just get it done. Then you don't have to worry about it for a long time. And again, all of these timelines apply. Let's say you've earned over £1,000 in the last financial year, so April 2019 to April 2020. You are now in the period of making sure that you review all of your income and you check to see if your income exceeds £1,000. If it has, by 5th of October this year, I believe, again, don't quote me on it, you need to make sure you've registered for self-assessment, and then you pay your tax by the end of January in 2021. So just bear that in mind as well. So I've got some references at the end of the document. This document is accessible on Google Slides, Google Drive. The link for that will be in the description below, so make sure you do click that. If you want to keep your own reference for yourself and save it to your own Google Drive, all you need to do is click File and make a copy, save it to your own Google Drive. It's all super simple and easy like that. And like I said, there's some references in there to the resources that I use to bring all this information together, hopefully in a nice, easy to understand video. And there's also an interesting website. There's a British Esports Association, and they produced a really useful tax guide which helped to break down the complex wording and terminology of HMRC and the UK government. So do check that out as well. So if you want to talk to me about the content from this specific video live and ask some questions, then you can join me on Twitch on Wednesday I don't know what Wednesday it is. Let me check the date. Wednesday the 29th of July, I want to say. So check me out on there. I'll be talking about this exact topic. I will only be talking about income, not expenses. Like I said, expenses will be the next video, and then tracking everything will be the video after that. And then you're also more than welcome to join and hop into our Discord, which is full of like-minded streamers, all asking about this exact topic as well. So the link for that, if you want to join, is in the description down below. And yeah, like I said, next week will be all about expenses and tracking that and claiming back the tax from expenses if you choose to do that over the trading allowance. And then I've got other videos planned, like the tracking things, and then even other things that are related to the business of Twitch as well. So if this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. Really appreciate you watching me all the way up until this point. If you're interested in some of my other content, I'm going to have the playlist. Let's see if I get your fingers right. This playlist up here is going to be for the business of Twitch. This playlist up here is going to be for the stream life balance videos I've already been posting a lot about. This little video here is going to be what YouTube recommends to you, and this little icon here is going to be your little suggestion to subscribe to me. So make sure you do that. And if this video did help you out, then feel free to like it. Let me know in the comments what was the most interesting thing you learned from this video. I'd be really keen to know that. Like, is there something new that you got from this? And if you feel like this can help your fellow streamer or content creator, then yeah, I'd love it if you share it around on Twitter and Discords and everywhere else like that, because this is stuff that people are genuinely asking every day, and no one really seems to know what's going on with it. And it's just made all the more worse by the fact that there's so many different places you have to go to on the UK government website. So hopefully this is a good resource where you can just come to this video, learn all about it, and then refer yourself to the Google Slides sheet as well. So with that, I'll see you in the next video, again, about expenses. Hope to see you on the Discord. Hope to see you on my Twitch stream as well. Take care. All the best. Goodbye.